It looks like we're off.
Oh, the uncle going out for a pack of smokes. Isn't that what they always say?
Ooh, we have a blue rupee start.
All
So
right.
right off the bat, we did see a mirror, or not a mirror check, excuse me, a map check from Leyra. I believe Eastern Palace was a crystal 5-6, and Tower of Hera and Desert Palace were regular crystals. And we get the hammer from the uncle simultaneously.
The hammer is definitely one of the nicer weapons to start off with here. For one, as both are runners see there, it's very easy to farm for bombs. So doesn't look like that's going to be an issue this seed. Also, the hammer opens up a lot of the world, especially once we get into the dark world and we start getting to that section of the game. So it's maybe not the most fun to watch from a viewer perspective, but from a runner perspective, definitely something you're looking for. And of course, having gotten that first bomb, neither runner is going to be spending much time farming here.
So first chest was just a heart piece, or a heart container, excuse me.
Some early health is always nice. So we should be in store for a pretty quick escape here with that early bomb. Not much need to farm, and with the hammer being a much more powerful weapon.
Ooh, and the moon pearl.
That is a very early moon pearl, and that means we are just a glove upgrade away from having Dark World access. We're not even halfway through escape yet. And you'll see just how much more powerful the hammer is than the normal sword. 2 hits does in the ball and chain guard. And 300 rupees in Zelda Cell.
Look at both of our runners a nice Kakariko setup.
It's always good to have the money issue kind of off your mind a little bit before you head into Kakariko. We see Leyra already has a second bomb, but you preferably would like to have more than that heading into Kakariko. You want at least 3 heading in there so that you can get everything that's behind the bombable walls. But so far we see Kyong having a very slight lead due to that map check and a little bit more efficiency of movement so far. And the ropes doing a really good job of blocking Kyong's way going through this hallway. Does need to be a little bit careful. These ropes do a half-hearted damage each hit. All right, both runners dispatching with the key rat. And we'll get a chance to see what's behind this wall here, the final 3 items in the sewer section.
Fortunately, one of them will be the map. Maybe not.
Oh, that means the sanctuary chest is going to be our map. See if both runners have been keeping an eye on that, and if they skip that chest. But we're practically in sync here, heading out of Sanctuary.
And both of them picked up the map.
I'm a little bit sympathetic. It can be a little bit difficult going through that escape sequence to keep that in mind. But yeah, we see all crystals in the light world. Kyong with that quick map check. Eastern Palace, one of our 5/6 crystals. We did see that earlier.
So it looks like Leyra is going to skip the lumberjack check, and same with Kyong. Both are going to head into the Lost Woods.
Yeah, this has definitely been a strategy I've seen gain popularity going through the tournament. If you don't have boots, then there's not really a lot of sense in going to check that. You're not going to need to know what that lumberjack item is until you have boots, basically. And once you do, it's very easy to route that check in with a bonk rocks check. So, yeah, not surprised to see both runners do it. And we find the mirror in the Thieves' Hideout drop down.
Another very nice item to find very early.
Yeah, very interesting. If we do find either gloves or the flute, we could see an early play up to Death Mountain. There are a lot of items available there with the current item setup our runners have. Well, that's a very nice bomb find for Kyong. He's either going to have to, make a gamble that he would find bombs in Blind's hideout, or he was going to have to go buy some. With this, he can definitely go check Blind's hut, hope he gets some extra bombs before he has to go to the well.
So 10 arrows, 300 rupees, the ice rod. And our last item is the power gloves. So there's our Dark World access.
This could be interesting. If our runners so desired, they could go straight to the Dark World. It's not much fun with this amount of health, and there's potentially not a ton they could do there, but it is a potential play. Though I would have to imagine we'll likely be seeing them do sort of standard routing, unless they find something drastic.
Bottle vendor only having 20 rupees. Let's see what's in the back of the tavern. A tier 1 sword.
Early sword is a nice find. We see both runners electing to go buy bombs. They're not going to gamble and hope that they find some in the well. And you see Kyong actually buying a heart. Maybe he doesn't want to be on half a heart for too much longer.
And another big 20 in the back of the chicken hut.
Yeah, and interesting at this point. They've checked everything except the well. It would certainly be a play to go straight from the well here to the Dark World from that northern Kakariko portal.
Ooh,
And the mitts. Now it's even faster to get to the Dark World if they so desired.
So only a tier 2 shield, or the fire shield, as many of you call it, was found in those 3 chests. It looks like both runners are actually heading to the Dark World, just like you called it, Jay Misha.
Yeah, definitely. With this set of items, they'll get to the Dark World, be able to take a look at their map. We see Thieves Town is the green pendant, Misery Mire is the red pendant, Ice Palace the blue pendant, and Swamp Palace is our other 5/6.
Very interesting setup. Well, we will see some divergence right now. It looks like Leyra might head into or do the overworld Village of Outcasts and then head into Thieves Town, maybe? While Kyong is heading into Skull Woods.
Yeah, this is kind of our first bit of divergence. Both runners have elected to do pretty much the same thing up to this point. And of course, both of them on green mail, just 5 hearts. They do need to be very, very cautious here. And Leyra finds flippers in the first chest of Thieves Town. That is a required item, so we know that at the very bare minimum, Kyong is going to have to dip into Thieves Town at some point. Yeah, and I definitely want to shout out to McLagan there. I definitely agree. That early mirror, I think, probably pushed them even faster into this play. It makes routing around the Dark World, especially in this area, so much nicer.
So we did get a look at Bumper Cave from Kyong, and it was the bug net. So I don't think they're going to go pick that up.
So Leyra going to go ahead and take the Death Warp here. This is more to get health back than anything else. Just found 2 items in Thieves Town, found the flippers, and is going to piece out of there. Kyong getting some accidental mirror bonks there. But now having checked Graveyard Ledge, we'll be most certainly heading in to Village of Outcasts to make these checks that Leyra is doing right now. It'd be interesting to see if Kyong decides to go further into Thieves Town. Leyra only found 2 items, which means there's 2 remaining in the dungeon somewhere. And also, it is the green pendant, something to keep in mind, as there could be an item on Sahasrahla.
Yes, there absolutely could.
And if they're thinking about their last seed at all, you know, maybe having some pendants wouldn't be the worst thing in the world?
No, not at all. But Leyra does dig up a piece of heart from the dig game. And looks like Kyong is heading into Thieves Town, so the flippers will be found soon.
Yep. Meanwhile, Leyra is going to go ahead and get this blacksmith chain out of the way. Can also do Peg Cave.
And maybe even Leyra will do the purple chest.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'd have to imagine if Leyra is going to be doing this, he's going to be doing everything that's doable here. Which at this point, I mean, he can do Peg Cave, do Blacksmith, grab the purple chest, do Cave 45, do Stumpy, route that straight into Hype Cave. So, yeah, this is wonderfully efficient routing. You know, when you've got this set of items at this point, a lot of people maybe prefer to just hit crystal dungeons as quickly as possible, but if you've got all the stuff for it and you're in the area, you might as well get these long overworld checks out of the way.
Oh, the Cane of Samaria from the blacksmiths.
Yeah, that is a big find.
So it looks like Leyra will see what's at the race game. It's just 300 rupees, and it looks like he's not going to go for it.
No, at this point, yeah, given the amount of money they have more than enough for both Palace of Darkness and Zora. So no need to seek out money or go out of your way for it at this point.
Ooh, Leyra finds the fire rod.
Wow. So this trip here that Leyra has been on has paid out hugely.
Leyra is one medallion away from an adventure up to Turtle Rock.
Yeah, obviously, Death Mountain is still technically out of the logic at this point due to not having either the lamp or the flute, but it would definitely be pretty simple for our runners to get there should they so desire. And yeah, there is a lot available on Death Mountain right now.
Now, what's the likelihood that our runners will wait until Hookshot to head over to Death Mountain?
It's certainly something to consider. It's always better to have all the items you need to kind of fully clear an area. But there's also a pretty decent chance that once Leyra's finished up Hype Cave here, there's a pretty decent chance that the Hookshot could be up there.
So we have Kyong actually at blind right now, and I didn't notice anything. Oh, they just found the boots though.
Yeah, so this item chain continues to pay off for Leyra.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything too important in Thieves Town.
No, Thieves Town hasn't paid out anything else, and looks like Kyong has already gotten all of the items that were here. So unless Sahasrara has progression for us, this will have been unless Sahasrara has something or Pedestal has something, this will have been time that it's unfortunately a little bit wasted for Kyong.
There's a big 20 in Hype Cave. Single green rupee, arrow capacity, another big 20, and another big 20.
Oh, no. See, they paid for this one on their last seed.
Looks like they drank the Hype Cave juice too much last game.
Yeah, there's only so much hype to go around, so unfortunately, nothing there. But Leyra, yeah, this is I'm really, really a fan of this routing from Leyra. This is an area that in normal situations would be taken care of very early game before heading to the Dark World. Leyra is able to, especially with that mirror, just route all of this stuff in on his first trip through.
Kyong's over at the dig game. He'll pick up that piece of heart. Meanwhile, the only thing of value found in Mini Moldorm Cave was the cane of Berna and a bottle.
Yeah, so not much there. Leyra taking a moment to think about his options, and looks like is going to be heading over here, checking out what the Hylia Island has in store.
And then he'll probably route Hobo into it too.
Oh yeah, he can get all of this stuff out of there right now, unless he takes a death.
Oh no. He's trying to avoid that by swimming around.
You know, it's not the end of the world, but he does lose his Dark World portal and is not going to get it back by heading down to the South Shore portal.
Ooh.
Oh, and that's what he missed.
Oh, that's actually a good item to pick up.
Oh, that's really unfortunate to miss now. I mean, it's good that he knows about it, and it's easily within his grasp once he decides to head back for it. But yeah, that's a rough one.
So Kyong is just about to turn in the blacksmith fetch quest, and he'll get his cane of Samaria. Looks like Hobo turned out to be nothing too great.
Nope. But Leyra going to save and quit. We'll start at Sanctuary and is going to be doing these Kingstoom Bonk Rocks checks. Could get a Lumberjack check at this point. We still don't know what's there. But then, of course, this will be easily routable into a Skull Woods clear, now with that Fire Rod.
So King's Tomb, just another big 20. Kyong also finds the Fire Rod.
Oh, there's sword upgrade number 3, which means Leyra knows where that tempered sword is now. That would have been really nice to have before going into Skull Woods.
Here is the Lumberjack check. Ooh. Nothing too good.
The Aga Dream is officially dead, folks. Okay, interesting. And yeah, this is it's right here. So Leyra is going to head straight to Death Mountain after doing this Lumberjack check. This is definitely the this is the item density play rather than the crystal play. Leyra will still be able to get a crystal, obviously, with Tower of Hera being one of our crystals this seed. And Skull Woods is easily gotten to later on, so yeah, I think this is a wise decision.
So on top of Spectacle Rock, we have a piece of heart, and inside we just have 10 bombs.
All right, I'm going to be interested to see how Kyong decides to route this from here. Obviously, going to do the dam, going to do Hype Cave. do mini Moldorm, and then the question will be, where will Kyong go from there? We haven't, for as open as the sea has been, we haven't seen a whole lot of divergence. Really, the only major divergence was Kyong going to Skull Woods first.
Leyra finds the big key to Tower of Hera in the basement, and up he goes.
So we avoid the basement for the moment. We'll have to see if we find the second item in the upper floors of the Tower of Hera first. Very nice boots bomb jump there from LeyraGG. With the boots bomb jump, you have a little more margin for error on your positioning. So very nicely done, and we're heading up to Moldorm.
Meanwhile, Kyong just finishes out mini Moldorm Cave, and let's see where he goes.
Well, he's going to be going to grab the highlight item, which of course we know is the sword. And he's going to be able to get it. So I'm afraid I didn't quite catch what the second chest in Tower of Hera was. But with that small key...
I saw a big 20 in the big chest, and Leyra did not go to the back.
Yeah, so that I can only assume then that means the second item was in that first floor chest. Now you see Kyong here making use of this this mirror spot to go straight to Hobo. Kyong also needing to be careful here on half a heart. Both our runners have been playing with fire a little bit. The seed hasn't really given them much to work with health-wise, though, so...
Spiral Cave just being a 10 arrow capacity upgrade.
Alright, looks like we're getting some new checks on Kyong's side, unless he face plants into the pig and takes a death. Wow, so both runners taking some really unfortunate deaths in the Dark World. And I mean, on 6 hearts with Green Mail, the Dark World is a incredibly inhospitable place. But it looks like Kyong's not going to be deterred so easily. Head straight back into the Dark World. We see the final sword upgrade in Paradox Cave as well.
We also get some heart containers and a blue potion.
And the lamp on Pyramid. So that does put Death Mountain into the logic now. All the stuff that Leyra's been doing up here has been technically out of logic, but now that we know that lamp is there, everything is back into logic, at least from our perspective.
Leyra clears out Super Bunny Cave while Kyong heads up to Catfish.
Leyra will be able to get a look at the Turtle Rock Medallion, and also we'll be able to get one chest here in Hookshot Cave, and Ether is going to be required for our access into Turtle Rock.
Leyra heads into Hookshot Cave and will actually only be able to check the first chest. And unfortunately, it's just a big 20.
Well, it's only the first chest unless you can hover.
And it looks like Leyra gave it a good attempt and then said no.
Yeah, I can't hover myself, but what I've been told with people who can is that it is one of those things. If you're not in the right headspace for it, or if your arms are maybe a little bit tired from trying it too much, it's just not worth trying over and over again.
It's incredibly difficult to do on emulator, which I believe Leyra is playing on, and that's usually the biggest hindrance. Meanwhile, Leyra does find the mirror shield in Spike Cave.
Yeah, so at the moment, Kyong is just a step or so behind Leyra at this point, with that full clear of Thieves Town and having checked Skull Woods. Definitely just lost a little bit of time. Still opportunities to make up ground here, but it looks like Leyra is going to be filling up on magic and then heading in to finish up Skull Woods.
Now, with Leyra already having Tempered Sword and his fourth Progressive Sword being on Hylia Island, do you think Leyra will actually go out of his way to pick that up?
Out of his way? No. If Leyra, for some reason, is in the Dark World in that area, perhaps. But the difference between Tempered Sword and Gold Sword is not much. It really only benefits you on maybe a few bosses. And the difference between Tempered Sword and Gold Sword on Ganon is nothing. So practically nothing if you're doing it correctly. So no, I don't see Leyra going out of his way to get it. And Leyra definitely this is a tactic I'm pretty fond of myself. Once you have everything you need for Skull Woods, just go straight to the back, finish off Mothula first thing, and hope that your items are here in the back so you don't have to mess with the front side. Of course, we know that both items are in the front side, so Leyra will have to backtrack for that, but I'm definitely a fan of this routing.
So Leyra drops down to Mothula while Kyong enters Tower of Hera.
Very clean fight from Leyra.
And is rewarded the compass for his troubles.
Leyra will head back in here, grab this this final chest from the back area. We know it won't be anything, of course, but you always want to do this first. If you're going to do this routing, you finish off Mothula and then you do this check. And Kyong with the nice Moldorm fight. So both runners showing off some very clean boss fights there. I think the the really interesting answer or question, sorry, is where is Leyra going to go after this?
Ooh. We haven't seen an Eastern Palace dip.
No, we haven't seen the area. Okay, so of course I didn't get a chance to see what that chest in Tower of Hera was, but apparently it was just the map. So that means there's an item in the basement here in Hera, and Leyra skipped it.
That is correct. Will this move cost Leyra some time? Possibly.
Well, if it's progression, that's nothing but bad news for Leyra. Of course, if this is nothing, then it means Kyong has sunk a little bit more time into another check that will have netted him nothing.
Oh.
Oh boy.
That's... I would say that's a luxury.
That's not progression, but Leyra won't be getting that. Almost certainly. Which means we're going to have Kyong, who is going to find his gold sword. It's not the worst thing in the world for Leyra. If Leyra has enough of a lead, then it won't really matter on that Ganon fight. But if they're at all close when that time comes, and that is an advantage that Kyong has.
The silvers will speed up certain bosses, like Armos Knights and Lamolas and Argus, and also Vitreous, but Misery Mire is a pendant, so... And the former two bosses I listed aren't terribly difficult to defeat without silvers.
Yeah, the time difference is, I think, negligible. But for sure, if that Ganon fight, if they're at all close together when they get to that Ganon fight, that is going to be a factor. So it appears Leyra has chosen to go check out the Zora area.
Just getting a little bit of love. Some expensive love.
So Leyra choosing not to save and quit here is going to continue on with checks here. Is this a play on Ice Palace?
It might be.
I mean, Leyra has a lot of not great options at this point. None of the crystal dungeons still available are clearable. Yeah, and it looks like we are going to be getting a look at Ice Palace.
So at this point, the only items we're looking for are Ether, Bow, and Hookshot, and Flute, No, maybe not flute, actually.
Yep, flute not specifically required since Misery Mire is a pendant dungeon. So yeah, bow, hookshot, and ether medallion are go mode items at this point. We'll have to see if this pays off for Leyra. 3 items here in Ice Palace. But as I said, there aren't a lot of really good options. There's of course still the Eastern area, which holds 3 items in Sahasrah's closet and 3 more in the dungeon. They could head into Palace of Darkness, but there's no guarantees that it's not bow locked.
There's the first chest they check has a small key. They're able to progress. If not, they logically cannot.
Yeah, and it looks like Kyong is going to be making that play. And I think personally, especially from Kyong's perspective, that this is a good check. Without the bow, can't finish either dungeon, but Kyong also has that green pendant, so he can check what's in Sahasrah's closet as well as turn that in and see if progression is on there. And yeah, if this green pendant comes to nothing, then Kyong knows that he most likely wasted a good amount of time in Thieves Town. So nothing from Sahasrah. Leyra did find the cape in Ice Palace.
Fortunately, that only really opens up the bug net.
Yeah, and neither of our runners will be heading for that anytime soon. All right, Kyong going to be heading into Palace of Darkness, and we'll find out really quickly if this palace is bow locked. And it most certainly is. Now, just because this dungeon is bow locked doesn't mean we have to leave right now.
That is absolutely true. Someone has discovered a nifty minor glitch called the bottle glitch, which we will see Kyong execute very shortly.
So basically, the way this works is the reason you need the bow in Palace of Darkness for this section specifically is that you need it to be able to kill the red Igor, or red mimic. And as it turns out, if you use a potion while moving left in that hallway before the mimic room, you can take advantage of a little camera glitch, which will unlock the camera and allow you to move over to the side of the room. And once the enemies are off the screen, the game considers them dead, which opens the door.
So Leyra, unfortunately, doesn't really find anything too great in Ice Palace.
Yeah, that's never a good feeling. Once you've kind of taken a little bit of a gamble, dipped into a pendant dungeon, not find anything, and especially because Leyra's kind of with that, having left Thieves Town uncleared, Leyra's kind of playing as if this is not going to be a pedestal seed. which is usually a safe gamble, but as you know, their first seed showed, it's always possible.
It is always possible. Statistically, though, it is a very low chance. But lightning does strike in the same spot more than once.
Oh, it sure does. And Kyong finds Ether Medallion. That gives us some very interesting information. It means that we know for a fact that the bow is not in Turtle Rock. Kyong can get into Turtle Rock and finish it at this point. But we know that bow won't be in there.
Now, do you think Kyong will go for the sequence broken Turtle Rock?
At this point, unless Kyong finds something in here that would push him to another crystal dungeon, I would think Turtle Rock is it's a sound play. There's a chance that Turtle Rock is a complete bust, but it's also a crystal dungeon. You'd prefer to be able to do it last so you don't have to make a second trip up Death Mountain. But I don't think it's a crazy play at this point.
Keep a little high five action from our runners as Kyong heads out of Palace of Darkness. Leyra heads in.
It's interesting. We'll see if Leyra decides to sequence break this as well. Leyra could just opt to say, nope, I don't need to. I know I'm going to have to get the bow eventually anyways, and just go straight out, go into Eastern Palace. But it does look like Leyra will be joining Kyong in sequence breaking this dungeon.
So a big 300 in Eastern.
Leyra able to get the bottle glitch as well. I was a little bit worried hadn't opened up that door. You can mess up the glitch. It's actually really easy to do. It's really easy to pull off, but if you start moving right at all after you've used the potion, it will cancel out the effect of the glitch. So I like to open that door before I use the bottle, but Leyra gets it done just fine, so no worries there.
Leyra missed the bomb placement.
All right, we're coming up on the last item here in Eastern Palace on Kyong's end. Or at least the last one they can get to at this moment. It's just a Timbon upgrade. We're rapidly running out of locations that are available and that are in logic.
I'm gonna make the call now that Swamp Palace will have our progression.
Ooh, hookshot-less Swamp Palace. If anything's on the left side in Swamp Palace without hookshot, that's it's pretty nasty.
But it looks like Kyong will head over to Turtle Rock.
Yeah, I think one of the prevailing sentiments about standard mode and version 29 is, and just from races in this tournament just in general, is that if you have a crystal dungeon available to you, you go in and you beat it. just kind of not 100% regardless of situation, but I think in most situations, you're going to want to be doing crystal dungeons as quickly as possible. But I agree with some of the sentiment in chat. I think Bow and Swamp Palace is very, very likely at this point.
There's Leyra's Ether Medallion.
All right, Kyong heading over here to these second set of chests. Goes the correct direction without the hook shot. It can be easy to forget that you have to take the long way around if you don't have the hook shot.
It looks like Leyra follows in Kyong's footsteps with the Wombo Combo Pod Eastern Palace dip.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're going to be heading into Palace of Darkness without Bow, and you have the mirror, you're definitely going to be doing this play as well. You're trying to find that next progression. But yeah, we kind of see the effects here of Leyra making that Ice Palace play. Leyra definitely had a pretty nice lead on Kyong for a bit there, but that Ice Palace play cost him a lot of time. And I don't think it was a terrible play. It just unfortunately didn't work out in this instance. So Leyra's going to have to find a way to make up ground here.
Looks like we have some debate on what items could be on the pedestal and what items could not be on the pedestal in this seed. So at this point, we know for a fact that flute cannot be on pedestal. And I think logically hookshot can be.
Yes, I believe that's correct. That hookshot could be because of the key logic in Ice Palace, and also they have the cane. So yeah, hookshot, Bow could be there.
So anything else could be up for grabs.
All right, Kyong going to give us a Mimic Cave check here. All right, and now the moment of truth, really. What is Leyra going to do? Is he going to follow Kyong up to Death Mountain? Doesn't look like it.
Maybe Leyra will head back into Thieves Town? Kyong picks up the Bombos medallion from Big Chest and Turtle Rock.
Now, neither runner has checked Sick Kid yet. So that is a check that can be done over in this area, but beyond that and finishing out Thieves Town. Oh, Leyra hasn't done Graveyard Ledge yet.
Which we know isn't anything crucial.
Yeah, at this point, the only check in this area that we don't know, that we have access to at least, is Sikkim. But we do have Kyong on Laser Bridge now. The hook shot!
So the progression was in Turtle Rock. The sequence broke in Turtle Rock.
That is a major find for Kyong. Yeah, that does make Bo being in Swamp a little less likely, though it can still be in the front half of Swamp Palace.
Kyong takes down Trinex while Leyra heads to the back of Thieves Town and unfortunately isn't going to find anything. Kyong proudly equipping that hook shot that he found on Laser Bridge.
Yeah, and I think from here, we're going to see Kyong head straight for Swamp Palace, and if the bow is there, then that will be go mode.
Hookshot Cave not having anything either.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, we knew that Bo wasn't going to be there in Hookshot Cave. Not sure if that was something that Kyong was necessarily thinking of in the moment, but he checked it anyways. It was right there. It was a quick check, so not a huge time loss either way. So, yeah, if Bo is in here in Swamp Palace, then what the scene wanted you to do was it wanted you to double dip Swamp Palace, get that bow, go finish Pod, grab Ether, go to Turtle Rock, get the hook shot, and then finish Swamp Palace. That is, of course, assuming the bow is in here.
Yeah, the bow could not be here at all, and we could just be even more confused.
Yeah, another interesting note. Thank you, chat. Both of the other medallions were in Turtle Rock, which means Bo cannot be in Misery Mire. Which means something has to be here in Swamp Palace, or the secondly Sick Kid or Agana could have it as well. And yeah, neither runner has checked Ice Rod Cave as well.
looks like Leyra is headed over to Swamp Palace too, so he's hot on Kyong's heels. Oh, I stand corrected. Maybe Leyra's going to the pyramid.
Yeah, Leyra didn't get that lamp, so yeah, this looks to be a pyramid play. Though Leyra did do catfish. And there it is.
Ooh.
Ladies and gentlemen, an hour and 1 minute in, Kyong has hit go mode and is set up so perfectly to finish off this seed. Oh, you know what? we thank you, chat. We were talking earlier about what we needed for go mode. We were neglecting how they were going to get into Desert Palace. That's a good catch.
I didn't even think about that.
I mean, of course, from this point, Kyong's going to be able to go finish up. He's going to be able to finish up this dungeon. We'll be able to finish up both Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness. We'll be able to finish up Skull Woods, and that will get him access to Pyramid Fairy. I mean, there's still a lot of checks along the way for Kyong here as he goes through clearing crystal dungeons. So either the flute or the book, at this point, I'm pretty certain will be somewhere.
Kyong is finishing up Swamp Palace while it looks like Leyra is heading over to Turtle Rock.
Yep, but this does confirm that the seed was requiring a double dip of swamp. At least logically speaking.
There's the mushroom.
All right, well, there's everybody's favorite fetch quest. And assuming Kyong does not find either the flute or the book here on Argus, that will probably be a pretty high priority check. Kyong not quite able to get off that Argus quick kill. Does need to be careful. On green mail, Argus can pack a little bit of a punch. But gets through the rest of the fight easily enough. And finds the book.
There's the book. So 4
Well,
minutes later.
Yeah, it's
Kyong isn't
4
going
minutes. 4 minutes premature, but that's okay. Yes, yes, we are now officially in go mode. I know the moment's been ruined. I'm sorry, but yeah, and this turn of events, it's just unfortunately for Leyra, is going to put him well far behind. And it's one of those things where if you make the decision to go for overworld checks, which Leyra has shown a lot of propensity to go for this seed, to check over a lot of overworld locations early, and it ends up being a situation like this where in a lot of the late progression was in these dungeons. Yeah, the Ice Palace play, and then also not going straight to Turtle Rock after sequence breaking Palace of Darkness looks to cost Leyra just a little bit too much time here.
Although I don't blame Leyra for wanting to stay within the sequence.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Sequence breaking can be a blessing or a curse. But in this case, sequence breaking was a huge part of getting Kyong to this point. I think sequence breaking is good as long as you keep it in mind. You just kind of keep track of what you've sequence broken and what that means for the seed. And Landmo goes down very easily for Kyong there with those silver arrows. So only 3 crystals remaining, Eastern and Palace of Darkness, and then Skull Woods. And after that, it'll be off.
Leyra picks up his Bombos tablet, and looks like Kyong is going to finish off Palace of Darkness.
Yep, we'll start with this, then mirror back over to finish Eastern Palace. See Leyra trying to be cautious there here in this room, trying not to take too much more damage. Think that earlier death in Turok is making him a little bit more, trying to play this a little more cautiously.
Leyra finds his hook shot.
Yeah, and that should be the sign for Leyra to get over to Swamp Palace as soon as he's done here. Leyra taking no chances at this point. It's going to open that safety door before heading back to Trinex. Having used that blue potion earlier for the potion glitch in pod, Leyra does not have any safeties really at all.
No, he does not. He will need to be extra careful.
Yeah, thankfully he does have the Tempered Sword, so this fight is not going to be that bad. We have dueling boss fights.
Well, unfortunately, Leyra barely misses the window to hit the ice head. And Kyong takes down Helmstar King.
Very nicely done from Leyra there. On just 4 hearts, managing to avoid all damage, which would, most of the damage in that fight would have killed him. But he does get through it and gets his crystal. And it does indeed look like Leyra is heading straight for Swamp Palace at this point. Which we know will be good. That's going to get Leyra into go mode as well. One Stalfos eluding Kyong for a short moment there, but gets through it, and we'll be heading into this Armos Knights fight. Silver Arrows making short work of that boss, and Kyong is 1 crystal away from the 7 he needs. And this should be a pretty quick journey here. Kyong just going to head straight to the back of Skullwoods, head straight for Mothula, and with that gold sword, shouldn't be any trouble. We are still on green mail though at this point, so this the seed has been kind of reluctant about giving our runners too much in the way of safety. But I think at this point in the tournament, with runners of this caliber, they're more than capable of handling these types of situations. And Mothula goes down super quickly. And that means Kyong has the 7th crystal, and it's time for a little game we like to play.
Oh, it is absolutely that time.
So, folks, we have the game we like to play here on the Speed Gaming channels. There are 22 locations in Ganon's Tower where the big key can be. Go ahead and type the number you think it'll be into chat. And if you are subscribed to any of the Speed Gaming channels, or if you have cheered 200 total 50 bits, you'll be you'll have a chance to get on our leaderboards if you guess correctly. So, Little Gapes, what are you thinking here?
I am a big fan of any guess that is low, i.e. 1 through 3. 3 usually being my choice.
All right. I have been, over the course of this tournament, I have been going with 11 each time, and I have not been right once, but that will not deter me. I will continue to guess 11. The game will end, or you won't be able to put any more guesses once Kyong has entered the tower. So you got a little bit more time.
Only a few more seconds. Get your guesses in.
All right, and we are locked in. Kyong going to go ahead and start on the right here. This is pretty standard play. Well, we do find a small key here, 2 small keys, and it looks like Kyong is going to go ahead and take that cue to head right side first.
Opting to skip tile room, not a bad play.
I mean, Kyong could probably check tile room and be okay at this point, given kind of the lead he's established. But yeah, I'm not sure what the situation would be in where you would want to be guessing tile room first. Find a red meringue and the GT big key.
Ooh,
You were 1 off.
so close.
That is location number 4. So just to kind of recap for the folks who might just be joining us, this was a pretty tight race for most of for the early portions. It was pretty open as both runners had Dark World access early, but really the big thing was Leyra, despite having a small lead, opted to go to Pendant Ice Palace when there weren't really any good options. Unfortunately, didn't find anything there. That allowed Kyong to get back into the lead slightly, and Kyong's sequence broke into the Bowlock section of Palace of Darkness, found the Ether Medallion, which led to Turtle Rock, and Hookshot was on Laser Bridge. And unfortunately for Leyra, after finding that Ether Medallion in Palace of Darkness, shortly after Kyong did, Leyra opted to go check some other locations around the map before heading to Turtle Rock.
Meanwhile, we have a victor in the big key guessing game. Congratulations to Marnificent, for correctly guessing.
Very nicely done, sir. Yeah, and while we were discussing that, Kyong was tearing his way through the gauntlet and is now on land mode 2. We did also see a nice land mode 1 kill on Leyra's side. And Leyra now has to finish up Eastern and Pod. Kyong making those Wizrobe rooms look easy. And onto the torch rooms. And here we got Moldorm 2 with that gold sword. That the boss is a complete joke. Just 2 hits is all it takes. And yeah, I mean, this is going to end up being a very, very nice time for Kyong. And I have to imagine after the way last seed went, it's probably a welcome sight. Closing in on a sub 130 seed here. We get some blue ball there, only able to get the single on that cycle. But a nice 4 cycle, 2-1, 2-1.
Almost my favorite cycle.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we talked a lot about routing and routing decisions, and kind of plays working out. But I also have to say that Kyong has been incredibly impressive when it comes to an execution standpoint. Just beyond the one kind of, not so great death early on in the Dark World. Both runners had one, but beyond that, I think Kyong's execution has been absolutely on point this seed. There's 2 arrows in. Kyong not getting the torch glitch with the fire rod, which is very nicely done. And there's arrow number 4.
Down Ganon goes.
I'll get your GGs in chat for Kyong92 as he steps through the door. He will finish with an official SRTV time of 1 hour, 26 minutes, and 56 seconds.
GG's to Kyong.
And it looks like, given that information, it looks like LeyraGG has indeed opted to forfeit. Hard to blame. I mean, this hasn't been the best seed, but you see your opponent finish with 1 hour, 26 minutes, and you're still trucking through your last dungeon. No shame there.
GG's to LeyraGG.
And we do have Kyong here. We'll see if we can get both our runners in. I'll see if Leyra is interested in an interview.
GG Kyong.
Okay, thank you.
How are you feeling after that seed?
Overall, I think it went pretty well. It was pretty fun to run as well with the super early Dark World access with mirror and stuff, so you could do basically everything.
Yeah, I think it was really interesting watching this because your routing, both your guys' routing early on was very similar. I think Leyra had an early lead on you because Leyra opted to skip out after the first 4 of Thieves Town and then didn't check Skull Woods first.
Yeah.
But you eventually caught up when Leyra did an Ice Palace dip that didn't play out. I think the big question for me to you is when you went to Palace of Darkness and you saw it was bow locked. What were your thoughts after finding that Ether Medallion?
Since we still had 3 items left, I think, at that time, because you could think like, oh, well, this could be the end of the chain, right? And following this up, especially since it's a sequence break and things like that. But since there were still 3 items left, I thought there was a decent chance the Ether would lead to something in Turtle Rock. And I was really hoping, which ended up happening, that Bo was in Swamp. Because that would be the perfect scenario for that pod visit.
Absolutely, and it ended up turning out that way as well. But yeah, I guess kind of go back to the beginning now. Yeah, we did have that really early Dark World access. When you went back and you found the gloves and you found the mitts were in the well, as I recall.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
At that point, are you like, I'm going to Dark World as soon as you found that, or what was your thought process there?
Yeah, that was the plan, but I was both low on hearts. I had like 1 heart or something like that, and kind of low on bombs, I think, too. And don't recall exactly. So I decided to like clear the most of Kakariko Light World before stepping in, just so I don't like get insta killed by something. Because it would be very costly to die there. When my death happened near Pyramid, it was much less painful because it was pretty easy to go back to there. But
Yeah, it was actually interesting because both of you actually had deaths in roughly the same spot. Leyra actually died while trying to check Lake Hylia Island. So
yeah, I almost died there too. Those bombers there were not playing around.
yeah, absolutely. And the seed was pretty stingy about handing out any sort of safeties or health. Or you finished on green mail. I think Leyra found blue mail somewhere, but
Yeah, and I was pretty adamant on not picking up the dozen of heart pieces I passed on the way. And it ended up being fine.
yeah, I mean, you finished with a really, really nice time. And I have to imagine, especially after your guys' first race, it's probably pretty nice to be able to head into Ganon's tower with like an hour 20.
It is, but this seed was also much scarier than yesterday's because it was a seed that you could have done things somewhat differently and finished it faster. I definitely did a mistake on doing Swamp left side. I was kinda just on auto mode from going into I found the big key, I found the map, so I'll do left side first and then go through. But when I found Bow, I should have just gone to the back since it was just 1 item left. That was definitely a mistake. And I knew that Lyra would probably just do first 4 of Thieves, so that was something that also didn't pay out, so I definitely wasn't feeling like 100% going to GT about my position.
Yep. Well, as it turns out, you were able to finish first. So congratulations with that. Moving through to the round of 16. As far as your opponent, we're still gonna be waiting. I think at bare minimum
Leyra
tomorrow night.
Oh,
Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say Leyra has declined an interview.
Yeah, no worries there. It's sounds like Leyra intending to get some sleep. Regardless, a great run through the tournament for Leyra, making the top 32. There's absolutely no shame in that. But yeah, so your next round will be either Salty Fry or Ninban. Currently, Salty Fry has a 1-0 lead, and their game 2 is tomorrow. So, still not sure, but kind of, I guess, just kind of final thoughts on the seed and just thoughts moving forward in the tournament, Kyong.
Not much else to talk about the seed, really. But thank you guys for the commentary, the restream, the tracking, and everything else. And well, we'll see how it goes going forward. I really enjoyed these tournaments, mostly because the whole 1v1 aspect, the metagaming you can do in this races is pretty interesting to me, so I'm excited to play more.
Absolutely. Well, GG's once again, Kyong, and give both these runners a follow. Check them out. They're fantastic runners. I'm sure you'll be seeing plenty more from them going forward. Also, like to thank Drossi for tracking this seed, doing a fantastic job as always. And thank you, Little Gage, for commentating this with me. It's always a lot of fun.
Oh, I had a blast, and a big thank you again to Drossi for tracking. Tracking's it's not the easiest thing in the world. It can be very intensive.
Absolutely. Well, I think with that, we're gonna go ahead and call it a night, call it a day, whatever time it is for you guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and actually, let me check and see. I think this was our last light race for tonight. But as I mentioned, as mentioned, tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, Ninban and Salty Fry up 1-0 in that series, and then I believe we got a game 3 between Elminster and Zelgid Sun.
Yes, at 9 p.m.
It should be a good one, but yeah. Thank you again, Little Gabes.
Oh, it was a good time.
Absolutely. And thank you all for watching. You have a great night. Have a great day. You take care.
Catch you all soon.